Hello, Wellness Check Wednesdays community. We wanted to take a moment to remind you that while our podcast serves as a safe space for open discussions and sharing experiences, we are not mental health experts. This podcast is a platform for you to express your thoughts, feelings, and experiences in a judgment-free zone. Our aim is to foster connection, provide support, and create a sense of community. It's crucial to acknowledge that we are not a substitute for professional mental health advice or treatment. If you or someone you know is dealing with mental health challenges, we strongly encourage seeking guidance from qualified professionals. Remember, reaching out to mental health experts can make a significant difference. If you ever feel the need, don't hesitate to connect with a licensed therapist, counselor, or healthcare professional.
This is the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast, a share space, a judgment-free zone, a place to meet and discuss our mental health. So let's check in.
Well. We are here back again, episode 57 of the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast. And man, oh man, bigger, better. I'm extremely thankful each of these Wednesdays that we gather together because I feel like this mental health awareness journey that we are on, it keeps growing stronger and stronger. And I am thankful for that. A little stuffy today, but it's all right. It's a little chilly, but I'm going to be all right. And we're going to keep it moving the best way I know how. As you should know by now, my name is Brian Livingston. I am the moderator of the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast. And I try to keep this podcast on the tracks, on the rails. I do a terrible job at it, but hey, we keep doing what we do, and this is a safe space for all. I would like to take this opportunity. We're going to go on a little trip while I introduce the originators of the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast, starting in Cleveland, Ohio, my man, Edwin Vereen.
17 degrees. This is hot cocoa and snuggling weather. If you got anybody to snuggle with, I suggest you snuggle and cuddle with them right now. But other than that, I'm good. I'm happy. I can't complain. And it's Wednesday. You know what time it is.
All right, our other originator here in Fayetteville, North Carolina, my man, Kevin Marshall. He is on assignment this evening. Hopefully he will join us a little bit later, but at this moment in time, we're going to take a trip by way of parts unknown in Oklahoma. My man, B3. Brad, how you doing, sir?
Doing all right on this Wednesday. Just kind of, getting by. It's quite a busy Wednesday today. So let's try to get through that and get to talking about this Wellness Check Wednesday.
Well, we are always especially thankful to have you each and every week. We are also joined by our expert extraordinaire joining us here on the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast. Very thankful to have her. Miss Amanda, how are you doing today?
Hi, thank you for having me. And I am doing really good. Texas, 37, but for us, that's extremely cold. So we're freezing over here.
Oh, yeah. Texas and cold weather don't really mix that
Yeah,
much.
they don't mix.
Ooh.
Well, I'm here in North Carolina, and I'm a tropical person, so this ain't working at all. Either give me a little piece of snow or raise the temperature. This ain't working. But
He said a little piece of snow.
just a piece, you know what I'm saying? Because I want to see something where I can like form a snowball or not have it at all. So
Gotcha.
Enough to have fun.
right.
That's it.
With that being said, we're going to jump into the topic of this week's episode, and we've been exploring a few things here and there on the month of February, where it's been dubbed, ironically enough, Loneliness Awareness Month. And so, but we're gonna flip it just a little bit because there's two sides of this whole thing that's called love and love and be together and all the things, we wanted to talk about a very particular topic: relationships and social media. Now, you can take that word relationship and apply it to a lot of different things: husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, family, friends. You could all type of different types of relationships, and then what it pertains to when it comes to social media. For example, you have your couples, you have your friends, you have your family members that you're very active on social media about. You share, you tag, all kinds of different things. You fight, argue, all kinds of things, and different things, and different elements of that. Whereas some friends, some family members are really more on the back end of things, where you don't want your relationship to be that public. That so you steer away from social media. And there's your pluses, your minuses, your pros, your cons when it comes to social media, because it really social media has basically taken our culture, our life in somewhat of a stranglehold. If you don't really engage in social media, you really are detached from what's really going on in the world. Is that a good thing, bad thing, a different thing? That is for each and every person to decide upon themselves. What we want to opine about on today is more or less how we treat our relationships and how social media affects those relationships. What I want to do is I want to start off first. Um, One of our originators, Edwin Vereen, he opines, does a little research when it comes to, oh, we have our other originator sneaking in on us. He's going to learn to be on time one of these days. Our other originator by way of Fayetteville, North Carolina. Introduce yourself, my man, Kevin Marshall.
It's cold, it's frosty, but I'm glad to be here. Hey,
Good.
y'all.
Hey, Kevin, you getting snow on your side of town?
Ice.
Ice, yep, same here. Some people keep saying they see the white stuff. I ain't seen it yet.
I did earlier at back door, but it was like for a brief moment, and then all of a sudden it just turned to straight ice.
Oh boy. That means the roads are going to be terrible. All right. Messing with my money. All right, cool. With that being said, it is what it is. Rather be safe than sorry. Edwin, I want to pass the mic over to you as you opine a little bit further. You did a little research on our topic of discussion on today.
All right, and so this impromptu day off, which means I had some extra time to conduct some research. And of course, you know, I love browsing and perusing the internet for great articles related to our topic. So I found this article on psychcentral.com, and it says how social media affects relationships. It is written by Cian Ferguson, but medically reviewed by Jennifer Littner, PhD, LMFT, and CST. And this came out in 2022, but I'm pretty sure it's still important to today. So let's hop into it, shall we? Social media can be helpful for connecting when we can't meet, but it also can rob us of quality time when we can. Social media can affect all areas of your life, including your relationships with partners, friends, and family members. These effects can be both harmful and helpful. Although social media can worsen certain relationship problems in some cases, it can also be beneficial when used wisely. Using social media in a positive way can benefit your relationships with others. Setting healthy boundaries around social media and relationships is a crucial step. So the article, it goes on. It's a nice article. Of course, you know, I don't read the whole article. I kind of start first and then I kind of find small tidbits of of the article to opine on right here on the Wellness Check Wednesday podcast. So let's look into something right fast, real quick. All right, let's look at the negative effects of social media on relationships. Social media can have a negative effect on your relationship in some cases. Social media can perpetuate jealousy. Jealousy is a natural, common emotion, but when left unchecked, jealousy can damage relationships. Jealousy is often a reflection of our own insecurities. It also has us making up improbable scenarios in our head, scenarios that might fuel our anger and insecurity. Whether you're feeling insecurity, whether you're feeling insecure, you might see a photograph of your partner with a friend and find yourself wondering if they're having an affair. Or you might feel like you're not attractive enough or wealthy enough. So you scroll through your partner's Instagram likes to investigate whether they're more attracted to other people. It's easy to project those difficult emotions onto whatever we see on social media. Your actions might find evidence to justify your jealousy, but even if your partner is totally faithful, if you're not managing jealousy in a healthy way, social media can perpetuate it. Also, it says social media can decrease the quality of time you spend with your loved ones. Has your partner ever whipped out their phone and started scrolling when you're meant to be on a date? Have you? I've never done that. I know better. A 2018 research paper found that increased social media use can have negative effect on the amount of quality time people spend with their loved ones. The study was self-reporting and more research is needed. In other words, don't do that. Stop doing that. All right. Social media can set unrealistic relationship expectations. Like, you know how you see everything on social media, be like, oh, relationship goals, relationship goals. And before I even read this part of it, it's like, look, you talk about relationship goals, you don't know the hell and high water that the couples went through to be relationship goals. And so you sure you want that? Think about it. All right. Now back to the article. It is said that comparison is the thief of joy. Yet we all tend to compare ourselves to others, especially through social media. You might look at the hashtag relationship goals post on Instagram and feel like your relationship is lacking, even if you usually feel happy with it. Also, that same 2018 study looked at social media and relationship satisfaction. Those who felt social media played a big role in their lives tended to find their romantic relationships less satisfying. Increased Instagram usage can lead to a decrease in relationship satisfaction and an increase in conflict and negative outcomes. I can say this. I'm glad Instagram had not a thing to do with my relationship. So I'll talk about the positive aspects of social media. And I won't delve into it too much. Social media can help you meet new people, all right, which it can. Social media can help you stay connected, which it really does. Social media can help you spend quality time with your loved ones. With the advent of the messengers and everything else, you can have group chats, and it's kind of like how we have our group chat with the Wellness Check Wednesday. Here we are now. Social media can give you ideas and creative ways to spend time with your loved ones. You might see a TikTok about a local exercise class for couples and decide to try it with your partner, or Instagram might provide some exciting date ideas. All right, so here are some signs that social media is affecting your relationship. You feel disconnected from your partner. You find yourself resenting social media, phones, or technology in general. You check your partner's social media obsessively for signs of cheating or dissatisfaction with your relationship. You find yourself wanting to replicate couples you see online. You compare yourself and your loved ones to those you see online. You feel inadequate or insecure when you look at other relationships. You find yourself scrolling social media when you're meant to be spending quality time with a loved one. And as the article continues, I'm not going to take up the whole show. It gives you tips on, how to use it in moderation, setting those healthy boundaries, and being realistic. And in recap, it says social media can have both positive and negative effects in your relationship. When you manage your social media usage in a healthy way, your relationships are likely to reap the benefits. Okay. So with that being said, here's how I look at how I've seen, I don't know how many times I've heard the stories, seen the stories where somebody saw something on social media where she said this and he said that, or he liked the picture and the insecurities came about. And for me personally, I'm at the point now, I don't share a whole lot on Facebook like I used to. I don't share a whole lot on social media like I used to. And whenever I'm in a relationship, I was like, you know what? I want my relationship to be my relationship. I don't like everybody in my business. Like my close circle, my close counsel, they know everything, but everybody else they just don't. I remember as recently as like a month and a half ago, there's someone on my friends list. You would think that this is her first time having a real man that truly loves her because she documents and displays everything. Like there was a conversation that they had at home and it had like the house camera and everything, but you can't really hear the conversation. And then there's another one as to where it was like, what were they doing? They were on FaceTime and you couldn't hear the conversation. I'm like, those are to me, intimacy is privacy. But when you constantly throw this in people's face, two things happen. People get jealous or they get tired of it. I don't want to say I got tired of it. I'm like, you know what? I was like, I'm happy for anybody that's in a relationship that's doing it big and making it happen. Congratulations, you found your one. I'm just old school. Sometimes you have to keep things in house. Sometimes you have to keep things to yourself. Like that FaceTime conversation, keep that between you and him. Whatever conversation y'all had in the house, keep that between you and him. I mean, don't update us on everything. It's just, I don't want to say maybe it's just me, but I know people like when my recent relationship ended, it's like, dang, man, I thought you were still going with old girl from South Carolina. I was like, nah, I done moved on about 6 or 7 years ago. I was like, wow, I did a great job keeping my stuff under wraps. And I'm proud of myself for that. So yeah, there's a good side and a bad side about social media, connections. I mean, I met Brad and our other co-hosts of our wrestling podcast. I met them through a wrestling group. We had a wrestling chat, and boom, guess what? We have a podcast now, the Connoisseurs of Pro Wrestling. So interaction, help. I mean, there are some good things about social media, but from like a relationship standpoint, like in the words of my dear brother Everett, who's no longer here with us, everybody business ain't nobody business. Um, Amanda, what is your take on this particular topic?
Yeah, I think I've had so many people come in and tell me about issues that they're seeing on social media or that they're experiencing in their relationship because of social media. Jealousy is a huge one. People going, hey, who's liking your pictures? Who is this guy? Who's this woman? Who is that? And who is this person that you took a picture with 10 years ago? Things like that. And I think we all know people that put their whole entire relationship on social media. We've seen people get together, break up, get together, break up. I hate you. Never going to talk to this person again. And then next thing you know, they're posting how they're going to get food together. And it's like, okay, it's kind of entertaining, but also you don't when it's not your drama, it's like, okay. But also you don't really want to be a part of that. And you're very much right with if it's if it's yours to keep secret, keep it secret. And keeping it secret doesn't mean that you're not sharing it with people. It's just I don't need my whole life on social media because I think when we grew up, social media was for your friends, but now it's your friends, it's your family, it's coworkers sometimes. It's just all these people that you might not want in your business. It's not just that small group of people anymore. Um, and some other issues that I've seen come up for people, and for me too, is just mindlessly scrolling. And you're just scrolling. You're not getting things done. You maybe aren't even present in your relationship with the people that are around you. And just kind of having to remind yourself that I'm not going to have a better conversation or engagement with my phone. I'll have better engagement with the people that are right in front of me. Um, but just thinking about how many times I've gone out and I've seen everyone's on their phone, no one's talking to each other. They're all just sitting there, and it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah, that is true. I remember there was one time, my ex-girlfriend and I, we went to Canada and we saw this group of young girls. They may have been in their 20s. I'm not gonna say what kind of cafe we were at in Canada. Wink, wink, nod, nod, if you know what I mean. Yeah, but the girls, they had their phone. You funny, Be Live. The girls, they had their. It was like 6 or 7 of them. They were sitting at a table. Their phones were on top of each other, like off to the side of the table. And I was like, wait a minute. Y'all interacting, y'all talking and y'all laughing and joking and having a good old time. I'm like that, and that's what I like to see. It's just sometimes they said, look, we're gonna take these phones, and they had like a real girls' night out. And I was like, that's pretty cool. That's pretty impressive. Brad, what say you about the whole social media and people being in your business and everything else?
Well, whole thing with that, I try to keep a lot of stuff off of social media because, as mentioned, in the early days, I used to share quite a few things. And then I remember getting into a relationship and I was like, oh boy, what is this person going to try to find? And sure enough, they threw some things back in my face. Like I was out somewhere and I got a message saying, oh, who is this? Why are you hooked up with this person? I was like, that's a 7-year-old photo. We don't care about this.
Yeah.
It's like we don't care about this anymore. And we got into a whole argument about that. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna shut this page down for a bit and not gonna deal with it. But a lot of people get jealous over those things. I mean, it can be old stuff, super old stuff. And they're like, who is this? Who is this? Why are you talking to them? Why are you like this? Why are you like this? Like, hey, chill. This isn't something for grounds for argument when this is like 15 years ago. And like by the way, like for instance, I have a family that's predominantly female. Almost all women in my family. And of course, if somebody I'm dating sees them or has the opportunity to meet them at some point, that's they're gonna have to deal with that. They're just gonna have to deal. And then just with the whole social media thing, on the positive side, I've met, honestly, I want to say a high percentage, 90s percentage of my friends online, even starting way back in the America Online days. I have 3 friends that I still talk to from 1996, 1997 still. So I've been, it's been a mainstay in my life, having a lot of online friends and meeting them in real life and stuff like that. So it's been pretty positive, but there have been some negatives as mentioned before.
Did you just say AOL?
Yes, I did.
You got mail?
He said America Online so people wouldn't catch on.
No, no. I was like, I saw what he tried to do. I ain't gonna let him just slide by America Online. I
I mean, I could say AOL, but then there's gonna be some Gen Z kids gonna be like, "What the hell is
what is it?
AOL? What the
They're
hell
not
is
gonna know
They're not
American
AOL?"
gonna
Online.
right. They're not gonna know America Online.
Remember
What
those
is
blue CDs?
this?
CD,
Ay,
the
ay,
CDs or
ay.
even the floppy disks that they used to have
They
too.
don't,
Ooh,
Yeah.
the
they
little
don't
three.
know Blockbuster. They don't know that Netflix was just a thing that you asked for DVDs in the mail and you had to return them.
Movie gallery.
Good Lord, you got to keep it modern. Got to keep it modern. But one thing I will say about social media that I, I'm thankful for it because it's absolutely expanded my horizon as far as like who I've met. As far as and I mean more friendships than anything else. As far as romantic relationships, I really limited to posting what we were involved in. The only time I really would post something like that if it was something a major event, like our wedding, a, our vacation in Niagara Falls, because the only reason why I would share stuff like that is more or less like not only was it a testament to hey, this can be you, because I remember when it was dire straits for me for a time being. You could uh, Ed can attest to this. I was the last one that was going to get married.
Last one.
That was not happening. It wasn't happening. But it was such it was a beautiful thing for the period of time that it did last. But that was one thing me and my wife were adamant about. My ex-wife now we were adamant about just hey, every, all the stuff that we do, we don't need to profess our love to everybody and everybody else. But from time to time, we'll update you, be like, hey, we decided to take a trip down such and such or whatever. What I use social media for in two different things, especially when it comes to relationships, is having it be in a testament. Hey, things are things are going well. This is what we're. This is every now and again. This is what we're doing here. And then for the majority of the time, it's usually just goofy stuff. I use social media just to laugh.
Yeah.
I found out today that headquarters, the corporate office of KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, is in Texas, and the corporate office for Texas Roadhouse is in Kentucky.
What?
That made me laugh. I believe that was worthy of social media. I think that is something that everybody should know of how backwards the world that we live in is going on right now. I think the news story just came out today about KFC moving to Texas. What are we doing here, people?
Yeah.
Kentucky Fried Chicken.
I mean that's why they call it KFC now. They shorten it, so they
Yeah, that's
can't say
true.
it's Kentucky. You
Yeah.
know what I'm
Just
saying? And plus Texas, people get all kinds of businesses and franchises get all kinds of
and then
tax
some.
breaks and stuff.
Hey,
Mhm.
and then somebody pointed out to me that Texas Pete is in North Carolina. It was made in North Carolina. So just it's all kinds of different things. But that is my humor above anything when it comes to social media. I do get to interact with a lot more people than I normally would, especially my two bros with the Sports Bros podcast, Eddie and Scotty D. I see Kevin Big Head all the time, so we don't really need social media,
Blah
but
blah 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 blah.
it does help from time to time.
Yep.
But
And speaking of Kev, how do you feel about social media and relationships and everything? I forgot that. I almost forgot about you, but I'm
we
gonna ask
didn't
you, how do you
forget
feel
about
about
him.
it?
You came in late.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Fair enough. Woo. I'm dealing with a situation now that
Oh boy.
a lot more of it is getting posted on social media, not because of me, but through a mutual friend of all of us. That it's like you post so much, and whether it's direct or indirect, but 9 times out of 10, people who actually know or people who actually pay attention will observe the indirect messages a lot more than the actual direct. But
Yeah.
I almost agree with what like B Live said, that I'm coming into a point now to where everything doesn't need to be known. Everything doesn't need to be shared. Like what needs to be shared, cool. If you know me, ask. If you don't, it's none of your business.
I tell you.
And I hate it for the fact that I was born in '91 and I'm probably the youngest guy on. And notice I said guy, not including you, Amanda. But I am the youngest guy on this podcast, where it's like the generation that's after me and the generation that's coming up now is that they have absolutely screwed up what social media was used for, to post hilarious content, to post hilarious stuff, to post the fact of, hey, family that I haven't been in contact with in however many months or however many years, check in. Like I just want to do a family check in, whether you're blood or not. But it's I don't know. It's come to a point that a lot of stuff is getting misconstrued
Oh yeah.
to the fact of that what's real and what isn't.
Mhm. Yeah.
And when I say that is like you can hear everything and believe everything that you are, but what's your truth? And that's the question that I pose is like, what's your truth? What do you live by? Do you live by having to see, oh, let me post this about my relationship. Let me see how many reactions, how many comments I can get. When in all reality, does it even matter?
Shoot.
Because at the end of the day, social media is one of those stepping stones and one of those hindering blocks that it comes into play of, if I believe everything, all of the comments and all of the reactions that I see, worthwhile is the relationship that I have with the person who I said is supposed to be me and you.
It and to your point, Kevin, that is such a huge deal because people don't realize how to separate reality from social media.
Absolutely.
That is, I see it all the time. I'm like, yo, there's a whole life outside of social media.
Hmm.
Touch grass.
Yeah.
Please stop seeing somebody's post and try to read between the lines and try to do all that. And then when the people that are posting it, please stop just showing all this glamour in front of stuff, knowing that there's a bunch of BS behind it. Stop lying to us. We
Yeah.
we see right through it, and so it just comes off as disingenuous. Like so, it something. And think about this. Unfortunately, where that whole movement, we listen and we don't judge. That is such a crock of crap that I've seen.
Oh, absolutely.
As much as we don't want to judge, we silently judge. And so a lot of things you'd be much better off be like, yo, be real, because we see right through you. We see you've had 5 different relationships in the past 5 months.
Well,
You've been in love 4 times in
yeah.
February. What? Wait a minute. Hold on. What are
Well,
we
it
doing
also
here?
goes back to a point on, like Ed said, everything doesn't need to be publicized. Are
You
you a
don't.
news reporter, or are you what do you call them? I can't think of the word I'm looking
Busybody, gossipy,
what do you call them? Mainstream in LA and like bigger cities.
Influencers,
influencers,
No,
blabbermouths.
they're not reporters, but what's the other word I'm looking for?
paparazzi.
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 Yes.
Yeah.
Like, are you
Okay,
paparazzi to what my relationship is going on behind closed doors? And that's where I feel like social media has taken a turn for the worse, because a lot of people want to be paparazzi to other people's relationship, whether you're striving for the good or whether you're striving in, let's say, not so good a scenario.
so man, that is such huge voice, and I want to continue this conversation. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to come right back with a little bit more of the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast. See
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Yeet.
We are back. We are back because, man, oh man, we're hitting some heavy points when it comes to relationships, social media, how we interact with people, what we basically put out a front when it comes to social media. Because social media, people have really start to not see the difference, not see the divide between social media and reality. And that there's so many different topics that we can cover when it comes to social media. Relationships right now, especially when it comes to the month of February, everybody likes to celebrate that love holiday. February 14th, Valentine's Day, big whoop de frickin' do. I stand 10 toes down. That is a BS holiday. If you really truly love somebody, you
Oh, it's a
celebrate that
money holiday.
365 days a year. That holiday is for people that have other things on the side. And
Mhm.
and don't really take care of what they're supposed to. But that's neither here nor there. Celebrate love. Celebrate your significant other. Celebrate your friendships, your family. Celebrate that through and through. Use social media for what it was initially meant for. It's initially meant for being able to reach people that you normally can't reach on a day-to-day basis. Friends that you haven't talked to since high school, family members that live in a different area. That's what social media was initially about. We've turned it
Mhm.
into a complete lifestyle to the point where people lost their minds when TikTok went down. Lost their minds because they actually were losing their livelihoods. As much as social media is entertaining. There's only but so many people that should be able to sustain a living off of social media. And so I try to tell people in these relationships and in just life in general, if you're dependent on social media, you got to reevaluate some things because I'm telling you, there's going to become a day and time where social media will not be sustainable. We've already seen it. Like when Facebook just went kaput one day, we didn't know what to do with ourselves. Touch grass. You see it now where there's a increasing amount of people that don't even know how to interact with people publicly, and they've turned it into a mental disorder. Amanda, I want to ask you this because I feel like you have a little bit more in-depth knowledge when it comes to that. People that are no longer like how do we correlate that? People that have such social anxiety because they like kids are like raised on tablets nowadays. They go into schools, everything's computerized. And then social media when in their teenage years. And now we have adults that literally don't have social skills because of social media. How have you impacted that throughout in your profession? And what advice would you have with that?
Yeah, I will say that the people that I've worked with, a lot of their social or their loss of social skills happened during COVID because we weren't out and interacting with people. We weren't, some people weren't going to school, they weren't going into work. And if you already had social anxiety, that just like got 100 times greater. And it's even harder to put yourself back out there. And for those people, if you have social anxiety, I do encourage people to, hey, practice talking to people online. Practice just putting yourself out there and going into like a safe community, right? We're not going to go and like share everything everywhere, but just get to talk to people and just see what that feels like for you. But something that I have noticed is lack of focus, shorter attention spans, especially with TikTok. And especially for kids that are being raised off of TikTok. And I've had a lot of people that say, oh, well, I just gave my kid an iPad because it calms them down. And babies are so attracted to phones and iPads because they're bright. It stimulates them. They're like, ooh, what is this? But what we're also doing is we're creating shorter life or not lifespans, my bad, attention spans for them.
Wow.
Didn't mean to go there, but shorter attention spans for them. But yeah, they're not really able to focus as much. They lose attention very quickly. They're not interested in things. And what this is also doing is it's creating dopamine seeking habits. So when we are dopamine seeking, we're doing things trying to find like the fun in life or just trying to find something that makes us feel good. For some people, that is social media. That's getting those likes, having people comment on your stuff, getting that positive attention. But if you're not getting that, you're going to keep doing more and more and more to try to get that dopamine back. And again, it feels really good the first time, but it's like with drugs. The first time is always the best time, and then after that, you're not getting the same hit off of it that you would get. So for people that are really struggling with just being able to be present in their lives, being able to talk to people, it feels so much scarier when you're not allowing yourself that opportunity to just do it. And when it comes to social media, what I'm hearing a lot of you say is comparisons, comparing ourselves to people that are going out and living large, or they make it look like it, right? We all know that influencers have a set where they make it look like they're flying all these different places. They're using private jets when all it is it's a set. They're not really there. Some of them go and take like several changes of clothes, so that way they look like they've been there multiple days or multiple times, but really it's all one photo shoot. And I think just a lot of people struggle with, well, I want to be this, I want to be that. I have so many kids that tell me they want to be an influencer. It's like, oh, well, Yeah, that could work, but also what are some other skills that you have? And
Better have another
it's
skill.
it's yeah, it's just all social media.
Like, I've seen so many social media influencers and people that have made their living off of social media come and go. Like only the like really the cream of the crop actually survive. And I hate to use um this person in particular because I was waiting for this time for her to completely fall off anyway. Talk to a girl. Guess what? Has anybody heard anything from her? Yeah,
No.
she tried to launch a cryptocurrency
Mm.
that went belly up, and now people lost. Like first of all, if you invested in that, you're dumb. I said what I said. I'm come on now, y'all really y'all thought that her popularity was going to last that long? Got to have a skill set at some point in time. Like even your best comedians, your best entertainers before this whole influencer phase came in, only the best of the best really stayed on top after a 10, 15-year period. Majority of your actors that actually are went to school for this and are on set and doing all this stuff, a lot of them aren't even as successful as, but everybody wants to be an influencer because it's the easiest way. Everybody's always seeking the next big thing, the next big thrill. Like, come on.
Well, and how I look at it too is that life is like a gamble, whether you're playing bingo, whether you're playing slots, like everything has an algorithm to it. And whether or not you can figure out the algorithm that actually works for your lifestyle and you can twist it to how you're living, everybody is pursuing the next person or the past person of who they're in. I'm not going to say quite inspired to be, but more so who they're chasing.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like even us as black males, like as males in general, there's always something that we're tracing to aspire to be by, when instead of chasing who you want to be and finding that algorithm that actually works for your life.
I think it's just a classic case of with that being said, Kev, you just you sparked a thought in my head. Whatever happened to just you being you,
Yeah, absolutely.
you being happy with your skill set, you being happy with your friend group, you being happy with your family, whatever happened to just originality and whatever happened to you being you, because
Hmm.
we're 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 oversaturated with the influencers and the you know the Jake Pauls, the Logan Pauls, and the I Am Speeds and the Kai Nats, and we're just extremely overstimulated to at a point like you forget how to be you.
Well,
And,
and
and
then
and that's very scary. Very
yeah,
scary.
and it comes down, like from my perspective and watching the generations coming up after me, that it comes to my perspective of what are you chasing?
Yeah.
Like, what are you running towards? Because everybody's always running away from something, but nobody ever asks the question, what are you running towards? Like, what do you aspire to grab?
Yeah.
Um, at the end of the day, I tell people this: if you're inspired by someone to do something, by all means, inspiration is a factor when it comes to bettering yourself and doing something else, or doing something different, or doing something better, et cetera, et cetera. But make sure the people that you're inspired by are actually doing something that's benefiting, that contributes to society, that has sustainability
Hmm.
more than
Mhm.
anything. Because if you're chasing something that at like literally that's fly by night, which all influencers are, all of them. The term or the job code influencer drives me insane to start with. What exactly are you influencing? Like what does that even mean? Like, are you like? But here's the thing: like, some people are so fickle at this point in time that they live vicariously through other people. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where this influencer thing even came from, is that so many people are not even comfortable within their own skin
Yep, absolutely.
to actually do something for themselves. So social media is a very powerful tool depending on how you use it. Like at the end of the day, something I'm very passionate about, not only with this podcast, but on the Sports Bros podcast that me, Edwin, and Scott do. That is our passion. That's my passion. I enjoy talking about the topic of sports from a fan's perspective, and it's our original thing. It's not something that we saw and one day we were like, no, we knew that we were fans of sports, and we decided one day we're gonna do this thing, and we're gonna stick to it. And it's to the point where both Scott and Edwin have gotten degrees in communication, in sports, and pursuing it even further. I'm self-made over here. I'm working on the video editing side. I'm on the back side of production and stuff like that because that's something I've wanted to do for the longest time. I've done it forever, and now I'm applying something to it. I plan on working that and making it my career. Those are the things. That's the kind of influence that should be out there. Hey, as opposed to everything that you see all the time, every agenda that's out there. That's another thing with social. Like I can talk about social media all day and all night. Not going to because we got things to do later on. But use social media for positive means, positive relationships, truthful relationships, sustainability.
Of your own accord.
Right.
Yes, of,
The,
of
the,
you.
Not
Yeah.
for anybody else's
yeah,
accord,
right.
but for your own
Right.
accord.
Stop faking the funk.
Yeah.
We see right through it. Don't do it.
Yeah. Matter of fact, real quick before we go, a few days ago, I saw something on Instagram. I don't know if it was staged or what, but it was tragic. So this one girl rolled up to this other girl's job. They were bickering back and forth. Don't you put your hands on me? I'm gonna do this. Da 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 da. They commenced to fighting. I stopped the video and I unfollowed that person. It's
Yep.
one of it's like come on now. We're like you're putting on a show. Who are you like? An image, a facade, like, oh, I'm about that life. I'm about that life. Well, I mean, I guess somebody came and saw about you, and so you really had to throw them hands. And so I'm just saying, like, if 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 you use social media, use it for good. Use it for good, like this, Wellness Check Wednesday. Wellness Check Wednesday, Amanda, and to everyone else that is hearing the story for the first time, it all originated off of a Facebook post that I post every Wednesday. Every Wednesday. I use social media to motivate, to
Absolutely.
inspire, and to encourage. I'm 42 years old. I ain't got no time to be up here throwing no hands and fighting nobody and cussing people out and calling people B's and MFs and all this. I'm 42. I just don't have time for it. If I want to leave an imprint on this earth, I'm gonna leave an imprint on this earth. Like, you know what? Whenever I log into Eddie Cool or Edwin Vereen's social media or his podcast, he always trying to leave. He always makes sure he gives you something good. I don't want nothing back in return. Only thing I want you to do is take what I give you and try to use it to the best of your ability. So everybody out there, you use social media for good because it
And
works. It works.
it's one of those things like my dad's always taught me, you know, you can teach a gold miner to dig for gold, but
Mm-hmm.
how can they use that gold to aspire their life? How can they use that gold to influence their life?
Mm-hmm.
Not to influence for the next person or not to influence for who came before them, but like you just said, that you're giving out nuggets of wisdom, nuggets of gold. But the thing is, can I take that and use it to how I'm living? Can I take that and use it to what I'm going through? Can I take that and cultivate it and shine it to how can I shine? Not how can I shine for this person, not how can I shine for I Show Speed, not how can I shine for Lil Wayne, not how can I shine for Gorilla Zoe, not how can I shine for Trump, not how can I shine for Biden, whoever the case may be. But I'm gonna shine for me. I'm gonna shine for Kevin Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate all the insight that we have received when it comes
Absolutely.
to relationships and social media. Social media. I feel like we should touch more. We got a few. I think we got a few more weeks in us when we talk about this thing called social media. Especially, next week I want to touch base on the family dynamic.
Yeah.
The family dynamic, because we talk about relationships in a general sense, more or less like those intimate relationships that we've been in, and then just people that, and I'm gonna say this before we head out, it where we say Facebook friends.
Mm-hmm.
Friends is a term that is used very loosely. Just because that we are Facebook friends does not mean we're actual friends.
Mm-hmm.
You are an acquaintance of an acquaintance at some point in time, an associate. Some of it's few people that are really close to it. That's another topic for another day. But the family dynamic within itself, family, social media. We're going to talk about that and many more topics when it comes to the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast. I want to thank all of the people that have joined us here today, the originators, Edwin Vereen and Kevin Marshall, our mainstay, B3 Brad, our newcomer, our resident expert in the field, Amanda. Thank you so much for joining us this week and the weeks to come. It is an open forum for anyone that would want to join, and because this is a mental health journey that we invite each and everyone to join in, because mental health is health, and we're going to get there together. You are not alone. So we encourage each and every one of our listeners, subscribers, supporters, friends, family, all the whole 9 yards, each and every Wednesday, each day that you would need it, always and forever. We encourage you to let's
Let's
check
Check in.
in. Until the next time, thank you all for tuning in. See you next week. Stay warm.
Grazie.
Please.
Yeah, say that loosely. It's cold. Oh boy.
Thank you for listening to the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast. Please join us every week, Wednesdays on Zoom at 6 p.m., and join our Facebook group for updates and to participate. We care about your mental health, so let's check in.